Welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey. Mel Kiper, the ESPN NFL mock draft expert, insider, whatever, has dropped a new NFL draft big board. So I want to break down that big board and how those potential players could make sense or not make sense for Dallas. Now, in terms of what should you do, you can make an argument for almost any position on this organization because my number one need is an impact player. Get me one of those and good things will happen. We'll get to the list here, but if you have not already, please make sure you are subscribed. We're doing pretty much 2 videos a day right now. If that is something you want, hit that sub button right now. Let's go to top 10 here. We'll go quick on these. It's Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison, Drake Maye, Jayden Daniels, Odunze, Malik Nabers, Joe Alt, Brock Bowers, Fashanu, Dallas Turner. By the way, only one defensive player there, very accurate. You're not going to get those guys. They're going to be top 10 or top 15 picks. Barring a reckless trade up, you're not going to get them, so just pretend they don't exist. The other players here on this list. First up, 2 receivers, 2 corners. We'll talk about these guys here. It's Brian Thomas out of LSU, Keon Coleman out of FSU, who we'll get to, and the corners, Nate Wiggins, Cooper DeJean out of Clemson and Iowa, respectively, and their stats are actually almost identical. Look at this. Separated by 0.4 completion percentage, 1 touchdown, less than 20 yards, 1 pass breakup difference. They're both awesome. If you don't retain Stephon Gilmore, you can take a corner and run it with one of those 2, and Trayvon Diggs and Deron Bland. I'm not opposed to that. I don't think they get to you. Meanwhile, Brian Thomas Jr. and Keon Coleman, Thomas's numbers were awesome in the high-powered LSU offense this past season. I also don't think he gets there because 6'4" fast receivers typically don't slide unless the NFL's dumb and they think it's a DK Metcalf 3-cone scenario. So I wouldn't bank on Brian Thomas. Maybe Keon Coleman? Maybe. And again, if you move on from Michael Gallup, are we mad at a CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Keon Coleman trio? I'm not. Number 15 on Mel's list is Troy Fashanu. I think it's a little bit high up here for Mel, but if he's there at 24, I would not be mad at it. Now, what you would likely do here is kick him from left tackle to left guard. The numbers are not spectacular, but very good, and I think some of the things that led to him getting beat at times at Washington would be mitigated by a move inside a guard. And I would still argue was perhaps the best offensive lineman on the offensive line that won the Joe Moore Award for the best O-line in college football. So that's a good thing. He's not going to be a top 15 player for me, but as we'll get into, I am all on board with going best available offensive lineman in round 1 because depending on where you play Tyler Smith, the entire left side of your line could be tweaked. Now, we'll keep the names realistic here. Who is your dream Cowboys NFL draft pick in round 1? Realistic, not Marvin Harrison Jr. If the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and go vote. Number 16, Laiatu Latu, who, if we ignore the medical, is going to be probably my number 1 defensive prospect if the medical checks out or if we just flat out ignore it. Awesome production this past year. 21.5 TFLs, 13 sacks, edge rusher. You've got guys. Armstrong and Fowler are free agents. And you know what? Tank Lawrence ain't going to be there forever. Can add a second one if you want to. The medical could be why he's there for you, which also makes you wonder if you want to take that guy. Michael Penix is 17. Hate it. Not interested. I don't hate the player. Hate him in the top 20. If the lack of out-of-structure pressure stuff terrifies me. He'll be drafted. He'll be a day 2 pick probably, I would say. And it doesn't make sense for me to invest in a quarterback right now. Jared Verse out of Florida State, number 18 here. Again, fits a similar, not as good player, I would argue, as Laiatu Latu. Then 2 offensive linemen here will go back-to-back. Taliesin Fuaga, who was a right tackle out of Oregon State, who could move inside the guard, and Alabama's J.C. Latham, who was a tackle at Alabama, who was also a right side player. Maybe could play guard. I don't think he's going to be a great left side option. Again, we've got several more offensive linemen still to get to on this list. That's why I think Come draft day, I think, emphasis on that part because it's January, never speak in absolutes about the draft, especially that early. I think there's going to be a very good one for you when you're on the clock at pick number 24. Today's show is made possible by Tushy. Tushy is the modern bidet, if you will. It has finally made number 2 cleanup more hygienic and better for the environment. You can now have a fresh stream of water, the same water as your sink or shower, to clean up your bum after every poop. Tushy's bidets are easy to set up on any toilet in under 10 minutes. You can set up your at-home bidet that will change your life forever. It is a life-changing product. I am not kidding. And for being honest here, it feels pretty good as well. The Tushy bidet stays clean and hygienic with its patented self-cleaning smart spray. The nozzle self-cleans before and after each use automatically, and the build-up resistant design helps to minimize grime buildup, and it even has antimicrobial knobs. The bidet stays clean just like your booty. Get the fresh out-of-shower feeling at hellotushy.com/chat. For a limited time, get 10% off your entire order when you use code CHAT at checkout. That's 10% off your order at HELLOTUSHY.com/chat with promo code CHAT. Back that ass up with confidence. Number 21 on our list, or Mel's list, I should say, is T'Vondre Sweat. Now, you want a fatty. Here you go. Big boy in the middle, stops the run pretty well, offers some decent flashes of pass rush potential. It's the exact same thing we said about Mazi Smith, by the way. I would be stunned if Dallas took a second nose guard in the first round. Which, by the way, don't have Mazi drop weight, or don't let him, or whatever was going on there, get him back up to weight. You'll feel better about that player. I like Sweat a lot. As the founder of Fatties Only, it is very tough for me to want to invest another first-round pick in a guard, in a nose guard, who's not going to be an every snap player. It's tough. Number 22, Amarius Mims, out of Georgia. Now, he has played right side, mostly at Georgia. I think that he could be like our number 23 player, and we'll get to in a second, could be a left side player as well. He is upside. He has not played that much. He's played barely a season's worth of snaps, but when he's been out there, he's been awesome in pass protection. He doesn't get beat. It's a big risk with injuries, lack of play, small sample size. All of that is valid, but I like him. If he's there for you, he should be in the conversation. So when it comes to offensive line, would you take one in the first round this year? Y for yes, N for no. Go vote. Where else but the comments section? Fitting a similar mold for me is Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma. And I wouldn't be shocked if one of these two guys ends up jumping in the top 15. Guyton could show up at the Senior Bowl, by the way. Big week for him. Again, limited sample size. Hasn't played a ton. Mostly a right side guy. I think could play left tackle, which you could keep Tyler Smith at left guard. Fix your issue there. Didn't get beat that much. Both Mims and Guyton have to work on some run blocking stuff. That's okay. I think it's easier to teach the run blocking than it is the pass blocking. Who knows if that's accurate or not, but that's the way I feel about it. Again, mid to late round 1, good old line class. Jayden Newton out of Illinois here. This is a very different style of player than T'Vondre Sweat is. To put this in perspective, T'Vondre Sweat, again, we're going on listed size. It's not always the most accurate notion. Sweat is listed at 6'4", 362 pounds. Jayden Newton is listed at 6'2", 295. So we're talking about a nearly 70-pound difference in body weight. They say that they play the same spot, Newton, if you still believe in Miles Smith, they're not going to punt on him after a year, I don't think, would fit better alongside him. Newton is more of a disruptive three-technique style guy. Again, I'd be shocked if they went DT again in round 1. I don't know if he's even going to fall to you anyway, because it's a thin defensive class overall. I mean, how many offensive linemen have we had? It's been all offensive players, right? But fun impact addition. Number 25, Jordan Morgan, who left side tackle here. We haven't talked about a lot of those on this. They've all been right side guys. Left tackle option, I think kind of underrated. I'm glad Mel was in his top 25. 2 sacks, 15 pressures allowed all season. Or 16 pressures allowed, excuse me. And better run blocking grades if we care about that from PFF. Again, if you want an offensive lineman, that's going to go down the correct path. Now, what's the biggest need for the Dallas Cowboys? Is it O-line? Maybe it's a different spot we'll get to here in just a moment. But sound off for me in the comment section with what you think is the single biggest need for the Dallas Cowboys. I want to mention some other prospects here who were not on the board. 2 Bama corners, Coyd McKinstry, Terrion Arnold. McKinstry's an outside guy. I think Arnold could do both. He's good prospects that I think might be there for you. Offensive line time, Jackson Powers Johnson out of Oregon and Graham Barton from Duke can play center or guard. Both those guys. JPJ played every spot but left tackle. Barton was left tackle, probably going to kick inside. I would have no complaints there, being more in the Frederick mold. And the other Texas defensive tackle I think is worth mentioning, probably over Devondre Sweat, frankly. That's Byron Murphy II, one of the youngest players in this year's class. The other route you could go is draft the best player at either linebacker or running back. And I don't love that, especially at running back, which we'll get to here momentarily. Mel's top prospects at linebacker, top 10. I will make note, I'm going to rant on Mel here. He put defensive end, defensive tackle, off-ball linebacker, and outside linebacker. The one off-ball linebacker missing is Peyton Wilson, who put it at outside linebacker, which makes no sense, but I digress. I think Edgerrin Cooper's probably your best bet at A&M. I like him a lot. But the difference between Cooper and Schroeder and Colson and hell, even the Notre Dame kid or Jalen Ford between round 1 and round 2, it's not very large for me. Or Peyton Wilson can throw in there, I guess, if you want. I would rather wait to the second round and get maybe not the best prospect, but like the number 2 prospect. Otherwise, I think they're going to take Cooper or Trotter, and it's fine, but that kind of reminds me of the trauma alert, the Tristan Hill of, we got to get the defensive tackle. And they took the guy that they would follow them in the 3rd round. Running back, meanwhile, you cannot take one in the 1st round. Not because of the value of like the positional value, because there's not one we're taking. Brooks coming off the torn ACL. I think there's a better chance of one of those, of all of those guys being there for you in round 2 than one of them even going before you. Like maybe 1 or 2 go off the board in the mid to late 2nd round, where that's the Notre Dame kid, Artic Stemme, Blake Corum, Marshawn Lloyd, Braylon Allen, actually very low, with the Wisconsin running back, kind of low on that side there. I'm down to add a back. I'm just not taking one in the 1st round this season.